What is up? I might get crucified when the K-pop community finds this video, but I want to clarify that I do not hate most K-pop fans, okay? A lot of them are genuinely chill, good people that I can get along with. I don't think the worst of every fandom should represent the entire thing. For example, I think Rick and Morty is a good show, but I'm not a condescending Redditor who looks down upon the uncultured masses of people that have any slight difference in opinion. Recently, there has been a spotlight on the English-speaking K-pop fandom among people who don't really know much about that community. For those of you that don't know, K-pop stans are people who are so dedicated to certain Korean pop music groups that they set their profile picture to their favorite K-pop star and stan certain people, the word stan being a combination of stalker and fan. The term stan was originally coined by Eminem as a negative trait, but I guess some people have come to embrace their stanism over time. Again, the community is not all bad. The internet is good for finding people that share an interest when you probably couldn't find someone in real life. The Korean fanbase is much worse, but let me talk about the English one first because there's a huge difference in the type of toxicity, like where it comes from. The English-speaking K-pop fandom has a huge thing about trying to get people canceled and insisting that every little thing is problematic, as you're probably already aware. If somebody does something genuinely bad, then people should just be like, hey, that was bad, and so that person can help with their behavior in the future. But obviously they don't care about helping people change, they just want to completely destroy somebody's life out of anger. Let's be real, most of them are teenage girls who don't know much about the real world. One thing that most of you will probably be familiar with is when they tried to cancel H3H3 with the hashtag H3H3 is over party. My friend was telling me a bit ago that he was on Twitter and he saw a bunch of people saying, oh my God, I can't believe H3 would say this, guys. He's really gone too far this time. And so my friend was like, he must have really messed up. So he clicked on the clip of what he said.
I don't get the BTS thing. I'm just going to say it right now. I don't like K-pop. I hate K-pop. I don't get BTS.
K-pop?
They look like they're just a bunch of... How did this become a thing in Western culture where all these grown men and little girls are jerking off to little K-pop boys? It's like a little fetish. It's like a little twink gay fetish about these K-pop boys.
I used to like him, but after seeing that, I can never fucking look at his face again. Look, he was clearly goofing around. Like, he probably doesn't actually like K-pop, but clearly that was said in jest. So, what did the fandom have to say about this? Trash-ass white man getting mad over POC being more successful? LMAO. Yes, LMAO, I'm definitely laughing as I type out this tweet and not shaking in pure anger. Y'all don't hate K-pop because you don't understand it, y'all hate it because you're racist. And then, as usual, they put a gif of their favorite idol dancing for absolutely no reason. It's just what they do. Why don't you just call them bad word and get it over with, Ethan? Here's why you can't imagine little girls and grown men jerking off to little K-pop boys. Because you view Asian men as inferior to fine white specimens such as yourself. The funny thing is, you know all these likes are from white 14-year-old girls. There are countless tweets that accused him of being mad because people of color were thriving and he's a white supremacist or something, with obviously zero evidence. Also, I don't know if I'm the first one to say it, but like before this, I didn't even know he was white. I really can't tell if these people are being purposely disingenuous or if they have genuinely deluded themselves into believing the narrative. There's a lot more where this came from. There was a Katy Perry is over party hashtag. What could she have done? American singer Katy Perry hits a raw nerve for insinuating K-pop boy band BTS fans are children. So she was preparing to perform after BTS when she joked that the audience should be happy as most of you get to stay up past your bedtime. How dare you insinuate that a fan base predominantly made up of children is children. That's not actually true. There are a lot of adults who are just fans, but the stans tend to be children. So apparently it was just a misunderstanding because she always does stuff like that to her audience and it had nothing to do with BTS. But you know, even if it was a joke directed toward K-pop fans, like, take a joke. Apparently there was this other time where Ariana Grande was accused of plagiarism by a Twitter user and she got mad and defended herself, which resulted in a bunch of people going over to attack that user. It made the user cry and she apologized and everything, but I guess people got mad that Ariana let somebody be attacked. The hashtag wasn't started by K-pop users, but they completely took over the bandwagon because she was already controversial in the K-pop fandom. I can't really find out why, but apparently she was quote-unquote indifferent to Korean audience members at a conference, and because she's a cultural appropriator, I guess. I don't I don't know. There was also a time where some K-pop media figure talked about some negative aspects of the rise to fame of the band BTS, and as you can imagine, he was completely lambasted, told to kill himself, and never to talk about K-pop again. The BTS fanbase is called ARMY, which is really freaking cool, and they're known to be vicious, I guess, just because of how big BTS is. There are so many more examples of this, but a lot of them have this in common. They're not actually trying to help somebody change or adapt to better behavior in the future, as I said. They just want to see them completely destroyed. I sound like I'm taking this too seriously. Like, who cares? Like, who is even influenced by these people? So sometimes a random influencer would talk about how their grandmother died or a celebrity would die, and then you would see something like this. If only Juice WRLD stanned Blackpink, he wouldn't have died, type of thing. With, of course, the stupid-ass dancing videos below it. People saying this now are just trolls trying to make the fandom look worse, but it started because of stans who were unironically doing it. Obviously, this is a small minority though, but goddamn. Investing so much of yourself into another person that you don't even know is probably not good for people. Some of them claim that it's therapeutic, and hey, if that's true, then go ahead. But I would imagine that for most people, it's unhealthy and that they have some problems. So for the English-speaking fandom, the toxicity comes from two places. Mainly, it comes from the complete and utter dedication to a group or an individual, so that if anyone has criticism toward that, they take it as a personal attack. But it also comes from their constant need to prove how woke they are. They place Western standards on people that were raised in East Asia, a much more traditional culture than what we have in the West. Therefore, everything is problematic, and any slip-up is enough to cancel somebody for. However, the K-pop fandom in Korea is much worse. People have ended their lives partly due to the nature of Korean social media. Soli was a K-pop idol who tried to fight for women's equality, and guys, this might be hard to hear, but one time she wore a shirt without a bra below it and posted it. This obviously is not a big deal, but because it went against certain elements of traditional Korean culture, she got an insane amount of backlash for it. Thousands of people telling her to off herself, calling her the most degrading terms possible. She ended her life, and I'm not going to speculate that that was the cause at all, but there's just an example of how brutal it can get. So apparently there's this term called sasang. Sasangs is a term that basically means stan, but 1,000 times worse. Someone who's so obsessed with a K-pop idol that it envelops their entire lives, basically. Because sasangs are Korean, they have the opportunity to try to stalk the K-pop idols as much as they can, and that's a problem that every idol has to deal with. One time, a sasang wrote a letter to one of her favorite K-pop stars in her period blood that said, "You can't live without me." One time, a group of fans gave teddy bears to a band as gifts, but the teddy bears had cameras and microphones inside them so they could spy. The boy band EXO or EXO, I don't know what it's called, they have to guard each other while they're going to the bathroom because a bunch of girls would shave their heads and dress like boys so they could get into the bathroom and spy on them. This is a common trend I keep seeing, by the way. Fans going into the bathrooms of the K-pop stars and stealing stuff or just stuff like that. I don't know how they're getting into the bathrooms. Like, does the entire public just have access to where they train and go to the bathroom? I'm confused about that, but it seems like that is the case. One time they installed cameras in the gym so they could spy on a band working out and training. And in another case, the sasangs installed cameras in a sauna and I guess could see the dudes taking a nap. It's just weird. Like, why would you want to see that? What benefit do you get from it? You're not going to know anything else about the person. I've also seen multiple sources saying that fans were stealing the urine from the toilet of a band and trying to sell it on eBay, describing its taste. Oh God. I can't verify if this is true entirely. Somebody did try to sell urine and pass it off for K-pop urine, but, you know, I can't verify if it was true or not because there was no concrete proof of them having actually sneaked in there and getting the urine. There was also a time where people pooled their money together to purchase a house right next to one owned by their favorite K-pop stars so they could constantly monitor their behavior 24/7. Anyway, there are two big videos where the YouTuber interviews someone who was previously a sasang and they go into detail on their behavior. This mostly consists of purchasing and exchanging information about where K-pop idols live live, their daily schedules, their phone numbers, etc. They legitimately dedicate their entire lives to someone that doesn't even know them, to the point where if that person starts a relationship, they can't mentally take it because they feel like they should be the subject of that person's life, even though, you know, the star obviously will never know them. If they could, they wouldn't have a job, but they have to at least make some money to support their lifestyle because all their free time and extra money is spent dedicated to their K-pop crush or whatever. I don't know. Sometimes it's not a crush. Sometimes it's just like an obsession, but I would imagine that a lot of the time it's like sexual. So yeah, instead of the overly woke cancel culture of the English-speaking Western fan base, the Korean fan base is overly traditional and tries to cancel people for anything seen as like bending the norms too much. The main source of toxicity for both of the fan bases obviously just comes from an extreme obsession with someone or a group, and that's especially a problem in Korea. There are a lot of trolls trying to ruin people's lives by starting rumors, and a lot of super fans that completely stalk the artists. I'm gonna end the video. I haven't even talked about how brutal the industry is because that's not the subject of this video. But you could do some research about it yourself. The K-pop industry is horrible, and it makes sense why a lot of K-pop stars say their lives are horrible. I actually deleted some parts of this video because I went back through it, and from the research I had done, I was talking about like fan wars on the Twitter K-pop community and stuff, and it just sounded so stupid because it almost sounded like I was taking like the goofiest stuff so seriously. Like they take that really seriously, like the fan wars and like the conflicts between the different groups. Like they take that super seriously, but it almost sounded like I was trying to make some documentary about a war. But yeah, anyway, I hope you enjoyed.